not a YouTuber, just like making videos. And as I fall into obscurity, I feel like a meteorite zooming past Earth's atmosphere and disintegrating upon impact. But I'm going to say that the name of this dissertation here is that I'm not going to call any more black men coon. I'm not going to call a black man on YouTube a coon anymore. And I'm going to tell you why. I tried to create a dialogue. That made a video called Coonology 101. Where I tried to create dialogue on this word coon. Because that's how I am. If everybody's throwing it around, I said let's analyze it. But of course the video didn't get much views. And the thing is with the word coon, I'm like it was really is a derogatory term or an insult to black people in general, no matter how we're acting. As I said in that video, just like white people will say, look at those coons over there, let's go coon hunting. And we kind of took it and flipped it. But black people do not use that word coon as a term of endearment. And see, it's like the word nigger. We took that word and we flipped it, Some black people still get offended by that word and don't want to use that word. Some black people do. But it has different meanings. Some of it can be positive, or somewhat positive, and it can be negative. Now, the word coon is just negative. When black people don't say, hey, what up, my coon, or that's my motherfucking coon over there, or me and that coon go back. No, it's only used as an insult, as a sneer. So that's why I've decided, because it's a word white people created, to belittle us, and now we use this same word that they were to belittle each other. And I don't even know what a coon means anymore, because people are just tossing it around. And I try to create dialogue on it. Nobody watched it, so but I can understand a lot of people are thinking on a microcosmic level, and I think on a macrocosmic level. And I'm not trying to brag on myself or anything, but as far as as I said, this little corner of YouTube, right now it's like water being poured on a pile of sugar. if you get my drift. It's pretty much all about beef and drama and addressing people and getting back at people. And it's funny how I read the comments and say, yeah, this beef got to stop. We need to focus our energy on more positive things, on more constructive issues. I'm like, okay, but still, when someone does it, look at the view count. When somebody comes out with their video addressing somebody, look at their view count. And the same people will get on there talking about, I'm tired of the beef. I'm like, and see, but I'm realizing a lot of people are just unable to spark genuine dialogue. And I can understand that YouTube is different for other people. Some people get on here and that they just want to address people. I understand, or they want to clear their name up and so forth and then leave YouTube. I understand that. I understand that some people don't come to YouTube to try to get some sort of knowledge or spark some sort of real dialogue. They just want to be just entertained with the tomfoolery. I understand that. Now, I'm going to go into certain events here. Now, I saw this Johnny Sotomayor video, which was good. He's talking about the discrepancies he's having with his former league there. And wow, I've came out with a similar video in the past called Tommy's Laughing at Us, where I've also talked about some discrepancies going along with my league there, which hence, I was sort of condemned for it, while these same people, kind of praised him for it, but it is what it is. But if you go into that video, Tommy's Laughing at Us, you'll see that I have that video was revelation. I pointed it out. I saw it coming, but what I'm saying, people were still going to get on me and say that, oh, you reneged and so forth. But I'm like, it played out like a charm. Now I want to talk about this new. See, the thing is, if you donate your whole YouTube persona or your time on YouTube to go after a specific person instead of going after an idea, and most people are getting that confused. I'm like, you're going to cater to a false audience. Everything is going to be done in vain. It becomes mundane. Like focusing your energy on Tommy Sotomayor. I'm like, yes, I went at Tommy, but my main, the auxiliary route that I've took was he'll say something and I'll break it down. Like he'll come out with a certain video, he'll make certain statements, I'll copy and paste it, I'll show the people viewing my videos what exactly he's saying and exactly what statements I'm going to break down. I didn't just sit up there and clown him and just called him a coon. I broke it down. I didn't even really call him Tammy or make references to his sexuality. And it's the same thing I've done with Painless, David Carl. Now I realize now that it's kind of point, because at the end of the day it's their decision and they ultimately represent a bigger problem. But I understand that they feel that they're right. It's like David Carl. It's pointless for me to try to deconstruct his arguments when his arguments are his own opinion. I'm like, it's like me arguing with some racist white guy whose mind is already made up, and he's talking about, well, black people, they haven't contributed nothing to society, to human history, and all they do is tear up their neighborhoods and so forth. Which, tearing up their neighborhoods, some of that's true, but I can talk to him about the social injustice we had and the empires we built, and we created the first mathematical system. But he'll just say, well, if you black guys were so smart, why haven't you got yourself out of the predicament you're in? So yeah, sometimes it's like a German door lock. And and I'm going to talk about this new Tommy Sotomayor video. And I would say that the one where he's talking about racism as a system, and I would say that he was on point for most of that video. I didn't there's parts of it that I disagreed with, but for the most part, he was spot on. I'm like, it was almost like he was having his own revelation. Now, I always understood what he was trying to do, and with David Carl, they just have a twisted way of doing it. And it seemed like it was pleasing a white audience, a conservative white audience, and it was pissing a lot of people off. Like when you go to his trade and you see Beastie this, Beastie that, Beastie that, Beastie that, hints and him saying that he's doing the news, TNN News Raw, okay, but only focusing on certain stories, which that would just be propaganda. And he'll say, well, I only want black people to do better and so forth. But I don't, his message is so topsy-turvy. First he says, black men leave black women alone. Then he wants to bring the black family together. He says dark-skinned women are beautiful. Then he says dark-skinned women look like men. So it's, it's like, I don't know what personality he's going to be. But as far as that video goes, yeah, I kind of agree with what he's saying. And I like the fact that Tommy pointed out some of his racist fans and the remarks they make. That's why that video, as from the last time I saw it, got 500 thumbs down. His videos, very few videos get spark this sort of reaction and get so much negative feedback. I know there's some videos he had to cut off the comment section and so forth. But this tells you that his white constituents weren't happy, and then he said, man, I don't give a damn. So maybe Tommy, if he gets to the point where he can just rely on a black fan base, because I understand that a lot of his black subscribers, they like the pro-black in them. You know, because he does have a tinge of it, and you know, and that's what they're attracted to more, and they kind of overlook the tomfoolery. But right now, Tommy holds the cards in his hand. All the people who's mounted up against, who made a, you know what I'm saying, dedicated their YouTube channel to him, and if he decides to go more of a not just a pro-black route, but a more balanced route, it's like a lot of them, they don't, you know, they'll be stuck. They'll be like, you know. So, you know, I've always disputed some of the shit he says, and even in that video, he did contradict himself. Once again, like for instance, he said that, talked about when he went to a white school and they called him nigger and so forth. Well, like, okay. But in one video in the past, which I did a video on, where he said that greatest thing that happened to him was when he moved into a white neighborhood and white people gave him confidence and they told him he was worth a damn. A white woman was the first to call him handsome. But then in this new video, he said when he went to a white school, he faced all sorts of racial humiliation, being called a nigger. So you know, with him, it's back and forth. But I do have to give him props on his ability to spark a discussion. And when he does drop knowledge, you know what I'm saying, it can be pretty solid. Just like the going back to Africa. What do you tell white people when they say go back to Africa? I remember that video, and I actually did a response to that video. I said I agree with him, but what Tommy's doing on YouTube's creating all this conflict, and he'll probably go back on what he says, you know, just kind of proves that he's a hypocrite, you know. And I was right about that. You know, he made that video on Real Talk, but then he went back to his tomfoolery. Hence, you know, the point that I'm trying to get at, I'm like, you know, a lot of these people in this corner of YouTube, which is just becoming laughable, you know, I don't think they really want to spark any type of real dialogue. I don't think they have the mental capacity to really speak anything real and do it in an interesting way. You know, just a lot of dudes, it's just a whole lot of beef, and a lot of people want to clown and go back and forth. But when they do see or start real talk, yeah, but I understand, you know, when you talk about some real shit, you see your ratings drop, and then you want to go back to the same old rigmarole and go back to what you know, and yet you're just catering to a false crowd. It's like when I came out with that video defending my honor. It got like 500 views in less than a day, which is good for me. I know it ain't shit anywhere else. You know, I know that, you know, you got white dudes that are talking about video games and they get 1 million hits in a day or whatever. But, you know, I could have catered to that beef. I could have kept coming out with videos on that subject matter, going at certain people, and you know, and fed these people their appetite. But I was like, no, I'm gonna have my videos, you know, about what I want to talk about. You know what I'm saying, regardless of how anybody feel about it. You know, I'm like, as I said, I'm not the best speaker, I'm not the best narrator, I'm not the best orator. But one thing about my videos, you know, I do pack a lot of knowledge. You know, I pack a lot of you know, it's like I was always considered to be kind of like that nerdy guy that knows a lot. Even if you see my video against Painless, I'll mention stuff about the Aboriginals and polar ice caps, and you know, in my latest video, you know, I talked about Queen Isabella and Christopher Columbus, and whether you agreed or disagreed with my dissertation, I pack a whole lot in there. You know, you know, I just know a lot. You know, I'm not even claiming to be any kind of intellectual, but you know, I don't know. Maybe it's because I traveled in my life, you know, and so forth. You know what I'm saying? And gathered a whole lot of information in my journey.